Good evening. Today is Tuesday, March 11th, and the time is 6:30 p.m., and I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Webb.
Present.
Stagel.
Present.
Onken.
Here.
Halbut.
Here.
Hall.
Here.
Serrata.
Okay, thank you. Item number 2, approval of minutes. Consider approval of the Planning and Zoning Commission's February 25th, 2025 minutes. We would need a motion and a second to approve those.
Move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve from Vice Chair Stiegel and a second from Commissioner Califoot. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say nay. Okay, there we go. Motion passes. Item number 3, citizen comment period with the Planning and Zoning Commission. The Planning and Zoning Commission welcomes comments from citizens early in the agenda of regular meetings. Speakers are provided with an opportunity to speak during this time on any agenda item or any other matter concerning city business, and they must observe the 3-minute time limit. So at this time, I will open citizen comments. Nope, okay. So we'll close those and keep moving. Thank you. Item number 4, consent. This is a final plat for a 1.43 acre tract at 801 West Center Street. We would require a motion and a second to approve the items.
Motion to approve consent agenda items.
Okay. Is there a second?
A second.
Cool. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda from Commissioner Houck and a second from Commissioner Califoot. Is there any discussion on this? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. That motion carries. Consider impossible action. Item 5.3, consider approval of a conditional use permit regarding the Central Business District overlay regulations for a new commercial structure located at 801 West Center Street. This is Deep Roots Animal Clinic, CUP-24-0110. Ms. Sharp.
All right, good evening, Commissioners. So tonight we have a conditional use permit for a property located in the Central Business District overlay. It's located at 801 West Center Street. Maybe. That does help, thank you. All right, so this is located on, like I said, on West Center Street, just a little bit east of the intersection with Veterans Drive. So for this, as you just considered the plat, so we have a 1.43 acre parcel that now has an approved plat that will be recorded soon. So this is, and I know these got a little bit confusing, so I did update these earlier today just to provide a little bit more context. So this is the kind of front side of the building facing Center Street that has approximately 25% limestone, 50% metal wall panels, and then it has some glazing, cedar screen wall, things like that. Before I get too far ahead of myself, just want to point out that this Central Business District overlay is not the same as the I-35 overlay that has the material requirements that y'all are used to seeing. This is a little bit of a, not a new overlay district, but new to y'all. We don't see many properties developed in this area. So these will be kind of new standards for y'all tonight. And just to point out, there's not any specific material requirements in terms of percentage of masonry, percentage of glazing, things like that. So then this is the side facade. If you're driving down Center Street heading towards I-35, this is kind of the side that you would see. This has about 76% limestone, 15% metal wall panel, some glazing, and a little bit of that cedar screen wall. And then this is the other side facade. If you're driving west on Center Street towards Veterans Drive, this is kind of what you would see from the side. This one has a little bit less masonry, primarily the metal wall panel. There's lots of trees and things like that that kind of screen this side of the building as well. And then here is the rear of the building that's kind of facing the parking lot. The parking lot is behind the building. So the building really fronts Center Street, and then you have the parking lot behind it. So all that parking is screened from right of way. So on this side, you have about 17% limestone, 48% metal wall panel, and almost 12% glazing, with some translucent wall panels and stained cedar screening walls. And then you have a dumpster enclosure that generally matches the architecture, materials, and things like that of the building. And then just to note, there are some signs shown on the renderings. Those are going to require a separate permit, but they're on the renderings for reference. And then here is the site plan. It is compliant with city codes. It's about 45% almost impervious cover. They're required to have 29 parking spaces, and they're providing 29 spaces. They also have some on-site detention that they're providing. And then access, this is really a little bit more to do with the plat, but they are allowing access to the residential property to the west via an existing agreement with that property owner. If and when that property redevelops, the access will cease, and then the residential property would take access from the other existing point of ingress and egress. And then this one is along the city's road bond project for Center Street. So in terms of sidewalks, they're paying a sidewalk fee in lieu, rather than constructing a sidewalk that's going to get torn out in the near future when the city upgrades that road. So there will be a sidewalk there eventually, and the property owner is paying their share of that sidewalk, but it will not be constructed right at this minute. And then landscape plan, they're required to have 15% of their parcel landscaped, and they're providing 45%. There were a few larger trees on site, an 8-inch live oak and 25-inch pecan tree to be removed, but 9 additional 3-inch trees were provided on site as mitigation. And then we have a photometric plan that follows city code. So your options tonight are to approve as presented, approve with conditions or modifications, or deny the request. Staff is recommending option 1. It meets all applicable city codes and the Central Business District overlay. Any questions? We also do have the applicant here as well.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions for the staff?
Yeah, I have a question. And if it's there, I'm sorry I missed it. I just was glancing at it. In the back of the property where it has the sodded area, does that have any shade covering over it, or is that just open? Yeah, right there where it says sod behind the building.
I can't, like immediately behind the building, I can't quite see it from
Yeah,
up
there's
here.
kind of like a big tree or looking something in the center, and then it has the sod there.
Yes, I believe there's some trees, but I'll also let
Shade-
Chris
but is there like
speak
a
on that
shade
as well.
covering, or is it just
Yes.
tree shade?
Chris Elizondo with Quadra Consultants. We're the civil engineer in the job. So the original goal for the project was to utilize the trees on site and have that kind of be like a little bit of dog yard, grieving area for clients. When we came in the spring last year, the project's been going on for a little while. We've been working through some value engineering on the building for the client. We had an arborist come out and realize that the trees had actually died. So between the old owner selling it and the new owners coming in, no watering had happened through the drought, and that killed a few of those trees back there. So what's probably going to end up happening is going to be additional plantings in that area to kind of beautify that, for be more an amenity for the patients, and for kind of that open space area behind the building.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions for staff? I do have one question. So, this is along Center Street, which is one of the busiest roads in our downtown. And the entrance of this building does not front Center Street, which I find curious. Is there a reason why it was placed on the side of the building instead of orienting the building to, serve the street for the visual, I guess, continuity with the other things in the area?
Let the architect speak to that.
Sure.
Hi, yes, ma'am. My name is Carlos Moreno, architect with Studio 8 Architects. So the answer is yes, there was a reason why it didn't go to the front. As a matter of fact, as Chris just indicated, when the pets are actually taken into the facility, and especially if those pets are actually going to be expiring in the facility itself, they need to be taken out, and this is the main way to actually get them out of the building from that side. The other part too is that there's a dog run that would actually be an extension of the exam rooms that are also on that side. The ORs, the surgery areas, the dental clinics and so on, those are on the street side of the facility. And so when patients actually come, let's say the owners of the patients, when they come, they're parking to the back of the property. So instead of having them actually go to the front of the property to walk in and so on to their exam rooms, this was the easiest way to care for the pets so that they're also not excited, and so they also don't run away onto Center Street. So there was a lot of programming done in relation to where that main door needed to go and the orientation of the building as well, especially when we start taking a look at the sun orientation, but also how all the natural lighting would be coming into the building and how that main entry would be to the back in service to where most of the activity would take place, as opposed to, again, off the Center Street itself. So that's why it's there on that side.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? Okay, we would need a motion and a second to take action on this.
I'll make a motion to approve option 1, approve with no modifications. Seconded.
Okay, we have a motion to approve from Commissioner Webb and a second from Commissioner Hauk. Is there any discussion on that? We're not very chatty today. Okay. All those in favor of approving that motion to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Okay, that motion passes. Thank you. Okay, so that brings us quite efficiently to our adjournment. We've completed all the items on our agenda, so there's nothing else we can discuss today. So we are adjourned at 6:43.